Welcome back to the Armenian Museum of America. I'm Gary Lind-Sinanian, the curator. I'd like to introduce you to another artifact in our collection, this particular piece here, but before that, I'd like to discuss a little bit background. Armenians were well known as silversmiths, a reputation they surely deserved. Extraordinary jewelers, but there were traditional arts that were done in Armenia, practiced. One of the areas was Armenian etching, which was very common for the style of jewelry made in Armenia. Another common Armenian technique was metalwork, which is this kind of work on this little drinking cup here, and also on this larger bowl. Metalwork is a sort of black on silver color. But one practice they did not actually do is filigree work. Filigree work was usually associated with the Syrians, Arabs. You might find it done in some of the larger cities, such as Istanbul or Smyrna, but in the interior of Armenia, they didn't do that. It wasn't part of the local tradition. It was only after the Armenian genocide that it became part of the Armenian repertoire. Many of the orphan boys were collected by Near East Relief in the various orphanages, and some of the boys were then given to as apprentices to various jewelers in Syria and in Iraq and basically Egypt. And there they learned filigree work. They became experts at filigree work. Then in 1947, with the return to the motherland, please come back to Armenia, many of these young jewelers emigrated to Armenia, and they introduced filigree work to Armenia, and so Armenia began producing filigree work. These are some examples that were made by jewelers. This cup hole here, this large bowl. But what I want to talk to you today is about this piece right here. This small, extraordinary piece is for cigarettes. It's a lady's cigarette holder to smoke. You would put the cigarette up in this flower, and then you would hold it like so as you smoked. And this was made by Koren Desakian. Koren owns Dveen Jewelers in Belmont, and he made this piece back in 1985. He had studied filigree work in Armenia under Antonik Bazanjian, a master filigree maker who was one of the orphan boys who had immigrated to Armenia. And the thing about filigree work is it's beautiful work, but they no longer do it. Filigree work, the material you use for it is carcinogenic. It can create cancer. So the people that work with this kind of jewelry will often impair their own health. And so as a result, people stop doing filigree work because they don't want to kill themselves. So as a result, it's now a lost art. I mean, people still know how to do it, but you don't do it because of the dangers physically to you. But this particular piece made by him, the motif is a little flower, and the little leaves here, which help to support it, and of course the mouthpiece. And it's a very elegant piece for a woman. But this is a wonderful little piece, and we thank Koren for producing this for us. The Armenian Museum is here to share our stories, our history, our culture with you. We thank you, Michelle Collegian, the president of our board, for making this series possible. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.